Hello, you're listening to Let's Talk Sports with Tim McKain, where I interview mixed martial artists, boxers, and a various amount of other sports. Today, I'm interviewing Antoine Bess, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, who has a 4-0 amateur mixed martial artist record. His last victory was against Oscar Sanchez, March 1st, 2020. In this interview, we're going to be talking about his sports journey, what led him to fight in mixed martial arts, what it takes to have a warrior's mindset, and so much more. Only on Let's Talk Sports with Tim McKain. Hello. You're listening to Let's Talk Sports with Tim McKain, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Antoine Bess. He is a 4-0 as an amateur mixed martial artist. He is the real deal. He has a savage mindset. He's got a warrior mindset, and I cannot wait to hear what Antoine Bess is going to tell us about his sports journey. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. So my first question to you is, how has COVID been for you as a fighter? What has that experience been like for you?
Super annoying, like annoying as hell. You hear about all these cards falling out, and so you get your hopes up. You get your hopes up that you'll be able to fight at this date or at this day or at this date, and it's not even opponents pulling out. It's literally the whole card falling through. Because if you think about it, really, like let's say an audio engineer, right, get COVID, then everybody else get COVID, not a whole event canceled. So that's happened to people I know. Yeah, so that's happened. So like you can't even plan events really because one person get COVID, everybody else get COVID. So, as far as I know, the only real places that's hosting fights right now, obviously aside from UFC and Risen and Bellator and are the commission in Florida and the commission in Iowa. Otherwise, every other state, is pretty much getting fucked up by COVID. It's really preventing everyone. And even like without fighting, it's kind of putting a hassle on training too, right? Because sometimes I'll go to colleges, like wrestling colleges, to train with people and stuff like that. But say the wrestling season's kind of a little weird right now, so they not really getting it in. And it's been a headache, to say the least, in terms of fighting wise. But me being who I am, right? I spent last time I talked to you, right? I told you I'm progressing in areas that I've been ignoring, progressing in areas that I put on for the back burner, you know what I'm saying? Put on for the back burner for later, right? So I've been going southpaw a lot lately. I've been working my hands a lot lately. I've been focusing on my mental and my diet better a lot lately. And I think that'll show in my next performance, right? Because COVID may have canceled everything, but you still got to put that work in.
That's right. You definitely got to put that work in. So, Antoine, when would you realistically want to fight next? And would it matter what state you want to fight in?
It does not matter which state. And you said what time?
Yes. When would you want to fight next?
Give me a month to prepare, and I'm good. So like if I get a call right now, what's today? December 29th. If I get a call right now, give me January. I'll be ready by February.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right, because if I get down to it, I don't really cut that much weight, right? I walk around at 140, right? And so if I'm fighting 25 or if I'm fighting 35, like really, that's not that bad a cut.
No,
not at all, right? So I told you I eat a lot, but like I'm burning it. So walking around 140, I spend that time not even worried about cutting weight. If weight is on your mind, then you focus on the wrong thing, right? I'm focused on whoever my opponent is, right? I'm not finna focus on losing this however many pounds. I'm finna focus on getting ready for dude. So that being said, right, give me a month to prepare for whatever style he brings, whatever challenges he may whatever he thinks he can use to beat me, and then I'll be ready. Give me like a month, maybe more. I wouldn't even say more. But honestly, a month. Like, I don't really need much more time than that.
Promoters, you heard it here. Antoine Bess, he's looking for a fight. All he needs is a month, and he's gonna give y'all a show.
Now hold up, before you say that, you got to talk about travel, right? Because I got a car. And I'll drive to X, Y, and Z, but if it's too far, y'all gonna have to fly me.
Hey, fly. I'm telling y'all.
Hey, flights are cheap right now. You can pay for it. They can pay for it.
That's right.
It's $30. Come on now, it's $30 round trip. You got that.
Exactly. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to the beginning. So when did you first fall in love with the sport of mixed martial arts?
It's funny you say that. I think the first event I watched, so a lot of the cats my age, like people around my age, and my roommates too, like they first event was like way back when with Chuck Liddell and Royce and all them. My first event was John Jones versus Rampage Jackson, right? And I saw a brother doing this, and so that's the part that triggered it. But to go farther back, I've always been wrestling, and mixed martial arts has always been a little bit in my life, right? I grew up around certain figures and certain fighters that pushed me into getting into MMA. I believe I really started wanting to do this as soon probably 2015, because that's when I noticed how my wrestling career was going. I was having struggles in the classroom. I was having struggles with my coaches, and because of that, right, it pushed me. It leaned me towards a different avenue of success. And plus, I'm really good at fighting. So I feel like regardless, I was always gonna kind of find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I'm saying not that I'm meant to do this, but like, it makes me happy. It's my purpose, and it's just always been around me in life, fighting, like, regardless. So I feel like I was always gonna find this, and it was always gonna be my thing.
Yes, sir. So outside of you being good at it, how did you know that the fight game was your purpose, and why else do you fight outside of that you're good at it?
It's funny you say that. I was out training in Michigan with Murcielago MMA. The coach there, he put me on the phone with Rashad Evans, and the first thing Rashad said to me was like, "Why do you fight?" Like, no, it wasn't why do you fight. It was, do you want to be famous? And verbatim, I said, "Fuck fame." Right? I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm not doing this for that. I'm not doing this for clout. I'm not doing it for none of that. I'm not doing it because it's shit cool, right? I end up in the hospital. I'm doing it to put food on my family's plate, to put food on my mama plate, on my little brother's plate, right? To put them through college, like to set them up for life, make sure they're straight. I'm doing it for my little brothers. I'm doing it for my family, right? I'm doing it for my friends, the ones who have been with me, throughout all this, through the ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? I do it. I mean, like, for them. You know what I'm saying? It's not about fame. It's not about glory. It's not about none of that, really. It's about doing what you love and doing what you can enjoy, doing what you're passionate about. Because if you really do that, then you're not working. You know what I'm saying? You're not working a day in your life as long as you're doing something that you care about, something that you love, something that you find purpose in, right? If I love this and this makes me happy and I can do this to feed the people that I care about, it's my obligation to do it at that point. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But to answer your first question, what was the first question again? It was,
honestly, I was so into the way you answered the question, I actually forgot what my question was. But it's all good because you probably answered it.
Probably.
So, you have 4 fights.
Yes, sir.
Who was the toughest opponent that you faced in your 4 fights as an amateur?
Myself.
Yourself.
Yeah,
okay,
no. I'm not discrediting any of the fights I've had, any of the boxing matches I've had, any of the wrestling matches I've had, any of the jiu-jitsu matches I've had, or any of the MMA fights I've had, or Muay Thai. I'm not discrediting any of those guys. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you, right? I can sign up to fight John Jones tomorrow. I'm gonna get my ass whooped. But the biggest hurdle to overcome, I'm gonna keep it 100. The biggest hurdle to overcome is always gonna be mental, right? You see fighters who can't make that connection. Fighters who are really good in the gym, but they can't translate into the cage or into the ring or whatever. You see that in the anxiety you get right before a fight or before a match or before a bout or whatever. You see that in certain circumstances where people get overcome by their own mental, and they find themselves kind of stuck, unable to perform to the best of their ability. And for me, I've always been that type of person where if I'm down or if I got anxiety or if I'm feeling X, Y, Z as a result of whatever, then it affects me up here and it affects my physical. Even in certain practices, I'll see that, right? The hardest thing to overcome is like being mentally prepared. And they say fighting is what, 90% mental, 10% physical?
Yes.
98% mental. I'm gonna take that a step further, especially for me, man. Especially for me, everything I've done in my life, it's 100% mental.
Yes,
That's always the biggest hurdle to overcome is getting in the right mindset to go out and not even win, but to go out and be comfortable with losing and be like, you know what, I gave it 100%. I did everything I could, in that situation to perform to the best, right? So I mean, I am undefeated, or I am winning,
yes, sir.
but mentally you got to be prepared to lose too, right? You can't, especially in this sport, right? You're gonna lose someday. Eventually it comes to everybody. So you got to be prepared to win, to lose. You got to be prepared for everything that may come in that fight, right? An elbow may come, right? You got stitches, right? Unexpected bill may come before the fight. So now you got extra incentive to win, right? So it's always gonna be a mental battle for me. Leading into my pro career, right? I expect that pressure to even increase. To be honest with you, and pressure make diamonds. So I'm prepared.
Yes, sir.
But it's always been mental.
So I want you to address that when you talk about the mental preparation. Is that something that you're born with or something that you develop?
I believe it's something that you can develop, right? As a kid, I always saw my mom and dad, they waking up at the ass crack of dawn, putting in work, working to provide for me, working to provide for my 3 little brothers. So yes, some people can be born with that mental toughness, but I believe people in my situation, where you don't come from much, and especially as a wrestler, right? You get mental toughness drilled into you every day, right? So I believe it's a skill. It's a skill that you can develop, right? I think it was before this last jiu-jitsu tournament, the whole week, like I put it on my Spotify playlist. I'm just listening to positive affirmations, only positivity, only stuff that'll uplift me and make my mental in the right spot, so I can be prepared to perform at the best of my ability. So I believe it's definitely something that you could. I believe it is a skill. It is a skill that you can be born with, but it can only be improved upon time and time again. And then it can be improved by performances. It can be improved by gaining confidence. It can be improved by positive affirmations, right? I'm seeing this, right? So I'm looking at my goals every day, right? I'm looking at my goals every day. I'm getting up, putting the work in, right? So I get confident in what I'm doing. I listen, I hear, everything I hear and see is all positive, right? That's a skill that you can build and that you can get better at until eventually that mental game, you have it at 100% every time.
Yes, sir. You know what? I guess that kind of answers my question, but I'm going to ask you this question. Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao, he grew up in the slums. Okay, yeah. And now he's rich, but he fell in love with boxing, and boxing was a way for him to make it out. Okay, whereas there's some fighters or there's some athletes that grew up with money. Okay, they might not have that same mental toughness. Do you believe that financial situations develop a toughness that maybe somebody who was in a richer situation might not face? And would they have those same affirmations that someone from a different situation would have to do? What do you think on that?
Absolutely. I think desperation breeds strength, right? If I'm desperate for this next dollar, if I'm desperate for this next meal, if I'm desperate, because I'm sleeping in my car and I'm desperate, right? It's gonna make me stronger. It's gonna make me tougher. That being said, I do think if someone with money, or someone who acquires money through their hard work, continues to put in that mental effort and never forgets where they came from, right? Then they can be mentally tough. But from someone who comes from money and then going into the avenue and then trying to develop mental stuff, it's different. It's different. Yeah. It's different. Like you gotta. It's a willingness. It's a willingness to push deeper and to find where your breaking point is and be like, nah, bet, fuck it, I'm gonna go farther. You know what I'm saying? It's being, you know what, I haven't eaten today at all. It's 8 p.m. I still got to put that work in. It's that versus someone who woke up in a nice ass bed, right? Who had 3 meals today, who petted their dog before they left the crib, right? Who don't have to work, right? Who don't got to work, they ain't got a job, right? Mommy and daddy pay their bills, right? So they straight, they can just go practice. Exactly. Right? It's different. So it's different toughness. I believe you see that in some fights, right? You see that, right, where somebody comes from poverty and they like, I ain't trying to go back to that. I know what it's like. I'm not trying to go back. So they fight harder, and they might still lose, right? Because they're not fighting smarter, but they're fighting harder, right? Because they're still tough, right? You can't tough and smart are two different things. You can be tough, but that's not necessarily smart, right? You can be smart, but that's not necessarily tough. You know what I'm saying, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, you see that. I feel like you see that distinction a little bit more in boxing.
Okay, so when you talk about the toughness of a fighter and the smartness, what's an example of a fighter who was tough but not smart, but then a guy who wasn't as tough but was smarter in the octagon or in the ring, and they won?
You said an example where a tough guy beat a smart guy.
No, where a smart guy beat a tough guy.
Okay. Look at pretty much any Errol Spence fight. To be honest, right? He
Okay.
is calculated. Don't get me wrong, Errol Spence, that's a tough motherfucker. He tough as hell.
Yeah.
But he's like, why would I do this when I could just outbox you? You know what I'm saying? You see it a lot more in boxing. You see it a lot more in boxing where they'll fight smart because they don't gotta fight tough. They ain't gotta, shell up and just walk forward and just prove they so strong and bully the guy, because they'll just pop you with that jab and work from outside, right? And keep it a boxing match. I believe you see toughness more in boxing than you do see the intelligence play a factor. But in MMA, right? Let me think. For example, John Jones he fights smart.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, John Jones is tough, but he's like, I'm what, 7'8", and I got 98 reach. I'm finna tag your ass from outside, and if you come close, I'm finna take you down. I'm finna smash you with these elbows, right? That's fighting smart. It's different than necessarily fighting tough. But you can see guys like let me give me for MMA, Max Holloway, right? He fights tough, right? He's like, he points to the ground and says, "Let's swing," right? Remember he did that against Ricardo Lamas. He pointed to the ground and was like, "Bet, let's go. I already won a fight. Let's swing." Right? That's an example of toughness, right? And don't get me wrong, he fought smart that whole fight, but that 10 seconds, that was him proving tough. That was him proving he was tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I think it's a difference. It's a different distinction between toughness and smart. But you see it a lot more in boxing where they'll be like, I don't want to, stay still in front of you and just swing, because that's not what we're playing. That's not we boxing. It's not a fight. That's boxing. Right? I'm gonna outbox you. So they'll work around that. They'll be like, all right, his strength is the left hook, right? So I'm not gonna circle that way. I'm gonna pop him with his jab, and I'm gonna circle this way. And every time he come close, I'm gonna clinch up, right? Fighting smart versus fighting tough. It's a different. I think you reach that level of knowledge once you've been in the game long enough, and you can see it. You can see it in fights, and you can see it in a person where you be like, he's not gonna last another round. He can't make it. He's not tough enough, right? Or you could be like, he's fighting too smart. This guy gonna have to do something because he's fighting smart. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I do. I definitely get what you're saying.
Hit me up after. I got some more examples. My boxing coach, he be telling me all this stuff, right? He got more examples. I got more. I just can't think of it right now.
No worries. So you talk about your biggest opponent was yourself. Did you always have that mindset? Was there ever a time where you looked at a fighter and you said, "Oh, I can beat him," so I didn't necessarily prepare, or was it always the me versus me type mindset whenever you faced an opponent?
It's always been me versus me. Back to a wrestling match, back to boxing bouts, back to Muay Thai. It's always been me versus me. Me versus my cardio, me versus who I was yesterday, me versus who I was 2 weeks ago, me versus who I was 3 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, we all get them negative thoughts, right? We all get that feeling of doubt and that feeling of anxiety that wells up in us. Like, damn, you really finna get into a fight with another person. You know what I'm saying? And that get inside your mind. That get inside your mind where you right, where you start beginning to doubt yourself. You start beginning to get anxiety because you don't know if you can perform. Right? This guy been training 3 months to beat you. You don't know if you could do it. Right? And it starts edging it. It starts gnawing at you. But you got to be real quick. You be like, nah, I ain't with that. I ain't with none of the negative shit right now. Right? And then you have to force yourself to think positive thoughts. Force yourself to overcome that, right? I believe it probably started before I started, wrestling, because I started wrestling first, but we all get the negative thoughts or the feeling of self-doubt, right, that wells up in us. So it probably started before that, but I really started to pay attention to it when I was wrestling. And, because wrestling practice, it's always tough, right? You don't win every go, right? And so, right, I get taken down during practice, and right, you start thinking like, damn, I can't get up from bottom, or damn, I can't get the takedown, or damn, I can't beat this dude. This dude better than me in practice, right? But you can't think like that. You got to overcome them thoughts. So I would go home, I look at my goals. I've been doing this for years, right? I look at my goals every night. I'm like, I'm finna do this, right? And it's not even always long term. It's always short. It can be short term, like, right? It could be like, let me give you an example. It could be like, I got taken down, my dude, by X today, right? By next week, I'm taking him down twice, right? Or I can push myself by the end of this week, I'm taking him down 5 times, right? Stuff like that, where like it'll give you a short-term goal to reach, right? And that's always worked for me, where I give myself a short-term goal to reach. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go past it, right? It's like a dare to yourself. It's like me betting myself, right?
Yes, sir.
So I feel like that's always been a part of me. Mental, me versus me has always been my biggest obstacle to overcome. Even from back when I was wrestling, and it's always going to be something that I still need to work on, right? Every day. You don't stop, right? You don't. If you stop training your body, what's going to happen? Your body going to deteriorate. Your body going to regress. Your body going, you can atrophy, muscular atrophy. Your body going to get worse and get slower. Same thing with your mind, right? If I stop putting in the work with my mental workouts, then I'm gonna get soft, and I'm gonna get weak. Then I'm gonna start that feeling of self-doubt gonna come back, right? And so I'm gonna start losing, right? I'm gonna start not performing to where I know I can perform. Right, and it's gonna be a cycle, because if I stop doing that, I stop mentally preparing for myself, or mentally with the mental workouts, right? And then I start underperforming. Then the feeling of self-doubt get worse and worse and worse, right? And then it's a cycle. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep up with the mental workouts, regardless of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Wow. COVID or not.
Who are some of the people that you listen to inspire you to continue those positive affirmations? Do you listen to any like motivational speakers or anything like that?
Not really, not necessarily. I just kind of go on Spotify, type in positive affirmations. I listen to that for a little bit. I got notes written up in my room and on my door and stuff like, fuck the day up, right? Land 10 jabs, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Small stuff. Don't get taken down today. So small stuff like that, where you'll see it and you'll be like, okay. And you remind yourself that how much of a dog you are. You know what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily listen to people. I know my buddy, he's a big runner. He listens to David Goggins a lot. I haven't really tried it. I might try that, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really listen to anyone else. It's more of me writing stuff down and me listening to stuff, and then the voice in my head repeating that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because the voice in your head is always gonna be negative. But if you train that voice to be positive, it's gonna be positive.
Agreed. So you spoke on this, but I want you to just I want you to continue to speak on it. When you talk about how like there might have been a teammate that might have taken you down. So there was a fighter who talked about how like every day when he goes into the gym, he learns something new. Do you believe as a mixed martial artist, you learn new things every day, something that you can add to your arsenal and weapons for the future?
Absolutely. You don't gotta make this huge leap and bound every day, right? That's not realistic. That's not what martial arts is. You're not finna just show up one day and be like, oh, well, it all clicks, I can beat John Jones, right? That's not how it works. It's a daily thing where you may be getting fucked up for 2 years in a row, right? The first MMA practice I ever went to, I got head kicked right upside the head, right? Hurt like hell. You know what I did? I'm like, bet. Let's keep going. You think I'm finna stop? You know what I'm saying? My first ever practice at Maximus Muay Thai, right? I got ran ragged. You know what I'm saying? They pushed my body to a point where I didn't know it could go, and I kept going because it was all striking. It was purely striking. You know, me being I was an MMA fighter, but I was coming from that wrestling background. So when I saw that, I'm like, damn, this is just straight going, straight hands and feet. You know what I'm saying? And so I went to that practice, and I was getting fucked up. Until I started not getting fucked up. Until I started doing well. Until I started improving. You know what I'm saying? Until the combos became smoother and my fluidity became better, and my shoulders became less tense. I found myself in the move. Right, the first time I went out to Murcielago MMA, you know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm like, I'm not ready for the pros. Right, I may not be here. They here, but I'm still stuck here. Right, I'm not finding that way. Right, and then my buddy Mondo, he invited me out. Shout out to all them boys. I got out there, and don't get me wrong, they worked me. They worked me. Hey, we got the work in. We grinded. But by the end of the first week, by the first time I was out there, I'm like, I deserve to be here. You know what I'm saying? I improved a little bit every day, and all the goals that I set out to accomplish, I did. You know You know what I'm saying? So it's a daily thing, right? It's a daily thing, right? You're never gonna find yourself in a spot where you just improve so much in the day where you like, damn, I'm just a GOAT, right? It's a daily thing, and you may not see it, right? You may not see a jab getting faster. You may not see that low kick landing every time. You may not see that body kick, hitting, making that thud that you get on the pads when you hit it just right. You know what I'm saying? But by the end of the month you will. You know what I'm saying? By the end of the year you will, right? So you got to keep on going, even though you don't necessarily see it immediately, right? Next thing you know, you're not getting tapped out by the same things, right? Next thing you know, you go an extra 10 minutes with the black belt who used to tap you, who used to tap the hell out you, right? You see the small progressions, and most people don't see that, and that's why you see them quitting, right? At white belt, at blue belt, you see them quitting. You see them quitting when they get head kicked in the head, and they like, damn, I didn't see that coming. Or when they get hit with the elbow the first time and they see their own blood, they're like, oh my God, I've never seen my own blood before. I don't know if I'm ready for this. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta. I think it depends also on the people around you, right? Because you got people constantly dogging you and telling you, right, and fucking up with your mental, and people who aren't saying, hey, your jab got faster today. If you don't got people saying that, then I feel like then that plays a factor into some of your where you see the skill level not increasing, right? But I've been blessed with great people around me. I've been blessed with great coaches around me. I've been blessed with great friends and great fighters around me, and I believe that has right. I believe. Let me get this. Let me say this. I would beat the fuck out of me from a week ago because of the people around me. You know what I'm saying? The Antoine from a week ago, soft as hell, right? Antoine next week will beat the hell out of this Antoine. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes, and that's how it has to go if you ever want to be good in this game. You know what I'm saying?
Respect. So, what is Antoine Rose Bess? What does success look like to Antoine Rose Bess in the octagon and outside the octagon?
In the octagon, success is me performing to the best of my ability, to the ability that I know I can perform. Right. I feel like that, regardless of if I do make that jump to 135 sooner or later, because I feel like that jump will come. Now I'm one of the best fighters. With the people around me, I'm one of the best fighters. I have the potential for tremendous success. Right. I can be one of the best fighters on the planet. With the people around me. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. And ain't nobody gonna tell me different. So to that being said, success in the octagon is me whooping the fuck out of these people. Me showing them, hey, there's levels to this, and I'm on a different level, and you're not ready for me. If you train for another 100 years, you still won't reach me. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal in the cage, and my goal out the cage, right? Belts and all that, glory, all that aside, right? I just like to fight. So performing to the best of my ability. But outside the cage. Success would look like me having my little brother's college tuition paid for, me having my mom and dad in a crib, in their own house, if they own choice, because my mom a little picky, so I gotta make her happy. That's what success looked like to me. My parents having a crib because they worked hard, they deserve it. I believe it's on my goal list. I want to retire my parents by the time I'm 30, right? I want to retire them. I want to put that burden on me, like, hey. I see y'all. I see what y'all did. I appreciate that. So I'm finna sacrifice my body and my mental, and I'm finna make sure y'all straight. So getting them a crib, getting them a house that they deserve, a big house. Putting my little brothers through college, making sure my friends and my friends straight because they've been with me, throughout this whole process, throughout the ups and the downs. I want to make sure they good. They are where they need to be financially, spiritually, mentally, physically. And even more so than what happens in the cage, right? Let's say I don't have the career I want in the cage, right? But I get what I want out the cage. That's enough for me. You know what I'm saying? That's enough for me because because that's enough fulfillment, right? I don't need to win every fight to be fulfilled, right? Because if you look for that, you never going. Because when you retire eventually, you ain't going. You're gonna have that empty spot. So I feel like my goals outside the cage, my goals for my parents, my goals for myself, retiring them by 30, my goals for my little brothers, my goals for my friends. I feel like that supersedes my own personal agenda, to be the best fighter in the world. Like let's say I'm the third best fighter in the world, right? I'm not, but let's say it. Let's go ahead and say it. I'm not, but let's pretend for a second I'm not one of the best fighters in the world. Let's go ahead and pretend that. But I get I get everything that I want outside the cage for my friends, my family, my little brothers. I'm straight with that.
Yes, sir. That's amazing, man. Hey, where can people find you on social media? And do you have a YouTube channel where people can see your fights?
So not on the YouTube channel, but my Instagram is Antoine_Bess. It'll pop up immediately, and it's literally just me training, me fighting and stuff like that. I got a Twitter now. I don't remember the last time we talked. I didn't have a Twitter, so I got a Twitter now. My roommates pressured me into getting a Twitter, so I get it. Hey, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I appreciate it. It's a nice little break in between everything. My Twitter handle is RoseBess125. And then my Facebook is just Antoine Bess. So, you know, if you want to find me, if you want to train with me, if you want to reach out to me, if you want to, talk shit, go ahead and do it at any of those. I do respond. So, especially if you want to talk shit. Hey, I'm with that.
Hey, I feel you, man. Hey, much appreciated for you joining on. Love talking with you as always, man. You have a happy holidays, man. Happy holidays.
You too, brother. You too.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace.